Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Betting, okay? And of course, I'm your host, Schmook. And for this episode, we're going to be going over Week 6 picks for the NFL season. Let's get at it. For the first game of the week, we have Thursday Night Football. We have the Buccaneers versus the Eagles, all right? So, of course, the Eagles are at home. They have a pretty good home crowd, not going to lie. And then their offense is honestly seeming like they're coming together. But I'm going to be picking the Super Bowl champs, all right? So now the thing is, what you're going to be looking to bet on, like, of course, you can pick the money line, but where's the fun in that? Because, of course, if you're going to go with the Bucs, you're probably not making much money off that money line because, of course, the odds are pretty crazy. But the spread as of right now, I believe, is negative and plus 6.5. So for the Bucs, they have to basically score a touchdown more than the Eagles. And I think they could do that. But if you want to play it safe, you maybe go with the Eagles covering because, again, like the Bucs defense is honestly kind of messed up right now. Specifically that secondary, like Antoine Winfield is, unfortunately, I believe he's still out. And then of course that Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith connection is legit. Okay, now they looked pretty stale last week, but they were able to come through and beat the Panthers last week. So who knows? Because, again, the Panthers, I'd say, have a much better secondary, and yet they were still able to beat them. But I think the Bucs, they should be able to score way more points on this Eagles defense because they have a lot of key injuries right now. Specifically, Fletcher Cox, he's hurt, so he's not going to be able to come after Tom Brady. Same with Brandon Graham, I believe. But anyway, the Bucs, I like them covering. I think they should be able to score a touchdown over the Eagles. The only thing that could stop that is the fact that Brady has a little bit of a thumb injury right now. But you should see a lot of quick slants. So I'd also say maybe do a Antonio Brown over 7.5. I believe it's 7.5 receptions. Because if Brady wants the ball out quick, and AB is going to be able to let him do that. So I don't know. Again, this is kind of a tough matchup. Like, I wouldn't see it as being a tough matchup, but it actually is. Again, I'd say just to play it safe, I'd say go Bucs covering. All right, so on to the next one. All right, so on Sunday we have another London game. So we have another early-ass game on Sunday between the Jaguars and the Miami Dolphins. Okay, now the Dolphins, I don't know what to think about them. Same with the Jags. I'm surprised Urban Meyer's still the head coach because we also saw John Gruden get fired, or he resigned, but he basically got fired. But if Urban Meyer's still out there, I'm surprised with the whole Gruden stuff, right? But anyway, the Jags, they've had some bad injuries, but their run game is actually getting solid. Like, James Robinson's a beast. Trevor Lawrence, I think, is finally starting to get into a groove of things. He's liking Laviska Shenault a lot, I would say. I don't know. This is a real toss-up. People are saying Tua is probably going to play, and I don't know what the spread is looking like for this game, but I assume Miami is favored. But this is a tough game to bet on, in my opinion. One, it's in London, so there's going to be some jet lag involved. Same with possibly missing a little bit of practice due to having to travel. If I'm going to pick, honestly, let's fire up the Jags. Let's just say, let's go Jags, even if Tua plays. The Dolphins, like, their defense is still solid. Like, it's a good, young defensive core. But I think the Jags might have a little bit more firepower on offense. And I think they have the better quarterback playing. They have the better rushing attack. But Miami has the better coaching staff, better defense. It's a toss-up. It's definitely a toss-up. Honestly, I'd say leave it up to you, but I'm just going to say Jags because might as well just have my pick in. Last week, I believe I did pretty well. The Panthers are the only ones that really screwed me. I know I had a parlay that did not work out for me too well. And it all came down to the Eagles literally just screwing over the Panthers. But it is what it is. But let's just go on to the next one. All right, so we have the Minnesota Vikings. They had a close, nail-biting victory last week. They were pissing me off, if I'm being quite honest. It should not have came down to a last-second field goal, I should say. But Greg Joseph sank it, so props to him, especially after missing that Week 2 field goal against the Cardinals, which was significantly shorter of a field goal. But, you know, I feel you got to feel for the Lions last week. It sucks. They're 0-5. I'm rooting for that coach. Like, he was crying in a press conference over that loss, and he wants that team to win. He's getting those boys ready to play, and like, props to him, you know. And the Vikings, like, they just play so conservatively, so it's hard to pick them any week, you know. And I did pick them last week, and they came through, but barely. So now with this week, they're not playing at home. which is huge. But honestly, it might not help as much because that home crowd was literally booing the Vikings. Because I don't know how they allowed the Lions literally to take a lead in that game in the last minute. But you got to give props to Kirk Cousins to drive down the field into field goal range, and Greg Joseph just sinking it. Now, they're playing a much better team than the Lions, I would say, with the Panthers. Much better defense, specifically in the secondary, because you have Jeremy Chin, you have Stephon Gilmore, C.J. Henderson. So that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, but I think if they just allow Kirk to get at it, and Dalvin's gonna be back, which is huge. So it's a real toss-up. I think Sam Darnold's actually gonna make a few mistakes because the Vikings defense has been looking better, specifically that pass rush. You have that ultimate dynamic duo once again with Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter, who were able to get after Jared Goff quite a bit last week. But the Lions O-line was banged up, but the Panthers O-line's not that good either. So I think it's going to come down to mistakes and possibly again with coaching. If I'm going to give it an edge to coaching, it's going to be with the Panthers. But if I'm going to give it to quarterback play, Kirk Cousins any day. Running back play, Christian McCaffrey's probably out again. So Dalvin. And then wide receivers are, I think, miles better on the Vikings side. And again, it's all based up to Mike Zimmer. All right. So if Mike Zimmer just stops being so freaking conservative with the football, the play calling isn't ridiculous, 2-17 running the ball or 3 and long running the ball, and honestly letting our first round pick Christian Darrisaw play at left freaking tackle, because every time he was out, he was playing, he was making key blocks, all right, huge blocks. So you can't just keep switching him out for one of the worst freaking linemen in the league, and Rashad Hill. So, and of course, you're going to be up against probably Brian Burns, unless Brian Burns is going to be up against Brian O'Neill. Brian Burns is one of the best pass rushers in the league, honestly. So it's going to be a tough pick. I'm going to go with my boys because I feel like they have to change it, or they have to come around. They have to, if they want to be, at least if they want to somehow make playoffs. They have to win this game because the rest of November and October is pretty stacked. You're going to be going up against teams like the Packers, the Chargers, the Cowboys, crazy good teams. So you have to win this game if you want to have a shot at playoffs. So I think this is a must-win game for the Vikings. Again, Sam Darnold is not playing that well these past 2 weeks. Even though he was a monster the first 3 weeks of the season, he's slowing down. Christian McCaffrey helps him quite a bit. And if he's out again, I say go with the Vikings. All right? So that's going to be my pick for that game. Next up, I think we have the game of the week. All right? We have the Chargers versus the Ravens. All right? Now, the Ravens, they helped me hit a parlay last week. Literally, Lamar Jackson became literally a god and was able to march all over the Colts in the last quarter of the game and even got them the overtime to win the game. But the Chargers are so good. That Browns-Chargers game was insane. The Browns, even though the Vikings held them literally only 14 points that week before, they still scored 42 points on the Chargers defense, which I think is a better defense than the Vikings. And the Chargers outscored them 47 points, so 47 to 42. Crazy. So it's going to be tough. We have, I think, two of the best young quarterbacks in the league, if not the two best. I guess putting Pat Mahomes aside, but as of right now, both these guys are playing better than Pat Mahomes. Herbert and Lamar is a killer matchup. I am watching this game no matter what. I don't know who to pick. I really don't. It's gonna be in Baltimore, which gives the Ravens the advantage. And honestly, if that's anything, that's the only reason why I think the Ravens would win this game. One, they're probably gonna have their first round pick Rashad Bateman finally play. Miles Boykin is also coming back off IR. Chargers aren't that banged up, but their O-line got a little banged up. But that Baltimore defense isn't stellar. It comes down to the quarterback play overall, because both coaches are great coaches, all right? Brandon Staley and John Harbaugh are elite coaches right now. And again, it's Herbert or Lamar. If the Chargers are able to actually make a good defensive scheme against Lamar, and of course Brandon Staley is a defensive-minded coach. Same with Harbaugh. I think if they can hold Lamar, Chargers should win. So I am going to pick the Chargers. I'm liking their stuff more, but the Ravens are an elite team right now. All right, they're no matter what a top 5 team. I think both these teams are top 5 teams right now. So we'll just say we'll go with Chargers. But this is a huge toss-up, right? I am not confident about it, but let's roll with it. All right, on to the next game. All right, next game I think should be an easy dub for the LA Rams. They're going to New York to play the Giants. Now the Giants, they had what was coming to them. I hate to say it. Like after last year, they destroyed Dak, ruined his season. Like now Saquon got hurt in that game, Kenny Golladay got hurt, and then Daniel Jones got hurt last week against the Cowboys. And I don't think any of them are going to play. Maybe Daniel Jones. I think he's just in concussion protocol. But there's a good chance he doesn't play. All right, and I don't think Kenny Golladay will either. And Saquon, I think, is for sure missing 2 to 4 weeks because that injury looked rough. But I mean, it's not season-ending. But he rolled his ankle hard. But yeah, I just think we'll just go easy. We'll say Rams and call it a day. All right, next game up. All right, so the Texans versus the Colts in Indianapolis. Texans, they put up a fight last week against the Patriots, but they allowed the Patriots to continue to go down the field and score, and they lost. Even though they were winning like 22-6 at one point, I believe. But then they lose 25-22. But the Colts, they were playing a hell of a game against the Ravens on Monday Night Football. That was a crazy game to watch. Like we've had some killer Monday Night Football games. I really wish Peyton and Eli would get off their break because these past 2 weeks have been stellar, and they would love watching these games and breaking them down. But anyway, the Colts I think should win this game because again they were very competitive. I think they were quite competitive against the Ravens. And the Texans, like, they just make too many mistakes. They have a rookie quarterback. Like Colts should win this game. All right, on to the next one. All right, next up we have the Chiefs at Washington. All right, so the Chiefs are going to go up against the football team at home, and I just don't know. Like the Chiefs, they have been quite disappointing so far this year. Like they're able to put points on the board, but they keep losing games. I mean, they got wrecked by the Bills, but I think the Bills are the best team in the league. And look out for a power rankings video. I think I'm going to do at least a top 10 teams in the league right now going into week 6. So look out for that. But anyway, so the Washington football team's defense has not been great. And they need them to be great if they want to be a competitive football team. Like their offense has been pretty good. Like Terry McLaurin's been great. Anthony Gibson's been good. Taylor Heineke's been honestly a breakout. Like I'm proud of the guy. But you can't go up against the Chiefs any week. Like they've gotten kind of unlucky a few games, but some games they've been just. I mean, again, they've lost to the Chargers, Ravens, and the Bills, which I think are probably the 3 best teams in the league right now. So you can't hold that against them. But their defense is not good, so the football team will put up points. But I will pick the Chiefs in this one. All right, next up we have obviously a classic matchup. We have the Packers versus Bears at Soldier Field. Like the Bears won last week. They honestly destroyed the Raiders. The Raiders honestly they're a mess right now. Like they look so good to start the season, but something's happening with them, specifically in the inside the organization. Of course, with John Gruden, now he's gone. We're not talking about the Raiders right now, but of course I'm going to pick the Packers in this one because of course Aaron Rodgers and that Devontae Adams connection it's literally unstoppable. And the Bears defense is not what it's been. It looked good last week. I will say it looked good. But Justin Fields, I don't think he's ready to go up against like the big boy in his division, Aaron Rodgers. So Justin Fields should be in for a solid game because the Packers defense is They honestly got lucky last week against the Bengals. Like Mason Crosby and then the Bengals kicker constantly missing field goals. That's stuff you never see. Like, it happens every once in a while. Like it's a constant back and forth missing field goals, even in overtime. But I think the Packers, they shouldn't have to worry about that. They should win this game. All right, next up we have the Bengals versus the Lions. And I'm just going to pick the Bengals because I think the Bengals have looked like a very competitive football team, honestly. Like they're going in each week, they're winning games, or they're making close games. All right, and the Lions, I want them to get another win, or I'd like them to get a win in general. Because again, like I'm rooting for that head coach now. I respect him. He loves that football team. But again, like the Bengals, I think they're too good on offense. And again, that Detroit's defense is just messed up. So I'm just going to go Bengals here. Just make it easy. Next game up, we have 2 killer games this week. And like at least like even just for the noon and then 3 o'clock games. So we have the Cardinals versus the Browns. All right, now this is at Cleveland. The Cardinals are a little banged up. I know Kyler's a little banged up, but he's going to play. Chandler Jones is on the COVID list, which sucks because they really needed him for this game, I think. And unfortunately, the Browns should be able to run all over the Cardinals with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. But I think they should be able to get after Baker quite well. At least that secondary should be able to. So I think the Browns' key to success is going to be just to run the ball. But Kyler should be able to air out the ball quite well against the Browns defense, which is a solid secondary. I won't say it's not. Oh, it's a tough one. I have my money on the Cardinals, and that's probably who I'll say you pick. But the Browns could easily win this game. After seeing what they did against the Chargers last week, even though they lost, that was a close game, high-scoring game. But I think the Cardinals are a better offense and honestly a better defense. But again, without Chandler Jones, that could be a key factor, right? So it's up to you. I would say like Brown, it could go either way. I think again, Chandler Jones being on that COVID list really messes it up. So I'd say up to you, but I'm just gonna pick the Cardinals because I have money on them. All right, next up, I say we have a pretty easy pick for this one. We have the Cowboys at New England. Again, like New England hasn't looked bad. Mac Jones has looked solid. He's not like an elite thrower or anything. But Cowboys, they look like, I think they're a top 5 team in the league. I don't know. I think that's all I really have to say is that the Cowboys look stellar. Their defense is looking insane. Like Trayvon Diggs is being a monster. Micah Parsons is good. And of course, Dak is the man. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. Like that wide receiver core is unbelievable. So let's be easy. Just say Cowboys are my pick. All right, next up we have the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Denver Broncos at Mile High. I'm just gonna pick Denver because I think the Raiders they would like to bounce back after what has happened throughout this week with the John Gruden situation. But again, even with John Gruden as their coach, there's something wrong with that team. Like Derek Carr's not looking great anymore. That offense just isn't getting anything going. That defense isn't. It's solid, but it's not that good. Denver has a top tier defense, and then Teddy Bridgewater's been solid this year, and it's at Mile High. If it was in Las Vegas, I would maybe go the Raiders' way, but I'm just gonna go with Denver and call it a day. All right, now we have Sunday Night Football. We have the Seattle Seahawks versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this is an easy pick. It's definitely gonna be Pittsburgh who wins this game because unfortunately Russell Wilson got hurt last week. First time he's missing a start in his whole career, which is sad. If Russ was playing, I'd honestly probably pick Seattle, but you have Geno Smith at quarterback, who looked fine when he came in for Russ, but Big Ben was looking pretty okay last week, honestly. And unfortunately, Juju Smith-Schuster went out, but again, you have James Washington coming in to fill in that spot, and he's a good wide receiver as well. So I just wouldn't worry about it. I think the Steelers should be an easy win. Najee Harris should go crazy against Seattle's defense. Should be a solid Sunday night game, which sucks because Russ isn't going to be in there. I could see it getting flexed out of this spot, but I don't know. They might just keep it because they'll say screw it. It's the Steelers in Seattle. But yeah, I'll just pick the Steelers, and there we go. Now we have Monday Night Football. Should be a good game. We have the Buffalo Bills coming to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans, they look like A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are in practice, but Dupree's at practice with the Titans. So it should be a closer game than people think, but I think the Bills are the best team in the league. I think they should be able to just steamroll the Titans. They should be able to get after Ryan Tannehill quite well. And yeah, I just think that's an easy bet. All right, so there we go. I think those are the picks for this week. I hope y'all can win some money. I think I'm pretty confident about a lot of these. There's just a few games. There's definitely a few games where I'm on, but those are the ones I usually wouldn't bet on if it should be that close. But the ones that look like an absolute guaranteed, definitely bet on those. All right, guys. I will catch y'all next week to give you Week 7 picks. Look out for a power rankings video that I plan on making here soon. And then also, I'm thinking next week. So baseball is looking like it's coming to a close. It's hard to bet on the playoffs in my opinion because anything can happen. I might make a video after tonight's game where we finally know who's in the NLCS and the ALDS. But look out next week because I think I'm going to be coming at you with some NBA picks. I know. Those are probably the most fun, and I think that's the sport a lot of people make a ton of money on. And I think I've been doing quite well with preseason picks. So I'm gonna see how I do the first week, and then I'll decide if I want to make some videos for y'all. All right. So look out for that, and I'll catch y'all really soon. Bye bye.